United Nations Security Council has called for urgent and extended humanitarian pauses in fighting between Israel and Hamas militants in the Gaza Strip. The United States, Russia and UK, who are council veto powers, have abstained from the vote. The remaining 12 members voted in favour, and according to the permanent representatives of Russia to the United Nations, Moscow abstained from the vote because there was no call for an immediate ceasefire. The resolution was the fifth council attempt to take action since Israel says that the Hamas militants killed 1,200 people and took at least 240 hostages in a surprise assault on October 7th. In major outcome from the high-stakes meet, the US and China have agreed to resume military-to-military level talks and communications and also cooperate on anti-drug policies. Both the leaders have also agreed to cooperate on addressing the source of the opioid fentanyl, a leading cause of drug overdoses in the United States of America. While under the agreement, officials say that China has to take steps to dramatically cut the production of ingredients for the drug. With these major positive outcomes, the world also saw a hint of personal connect and some light moments being shared between the two leaders. However, Biden has clarified that he still considers the Chinese president a dictator. US President Joe Biden has reaffirmed support for a two-state solution but has not moved to restart negotiations. Biden said he had made it clear to Netanyahu that a two-state solution was the only answer to resolve the war and that occupying Gaza would be a big mistake. But he said it was not realistic to expect Tel Aviv to stop its military action given the threats by senior Hamas officials that they intended to attack Israel again. Biden told reporters that he was doing everything in his power to free the hostages held by Hamas militants in Gaza, but that did not mean sending in the US military.
The price of justice.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said that the government of Israel exercised maximum restraint. Speaking at an electric vehicle announcement in Maple Ridge, Prime Minister Trudeau said, and I'm quoting him here, "The world is watching as Israel pursues its campaign to destroy the group that carried out the deadly October 7th attack." According to the Health Ministry in Hamas-run Gaza, over 11,200 Palestinians, two-thirds of them women and minors, have been killed, and over 2,700 people have been reported missing since the war began.
The price of justice cannot be the continued suffering of all Palestinians.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reportedly told Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh that Tehran will not join the war against Israel. He communicated this to the Hamas leadership earlier this month. Reports say that Khamenei's position stemmed from the fact that Iran was not given prior notice of the devastating Hamas terror onslaught on October 7th. News agency Reuters reported this development based on interviews with 3 senior officials in Iran. "26 Palestinian cancer patients and a 15-year-old awaiting bone marrow transplant have arrived in Turkey. This follows the evacuation from Gaza to Egypt through the Rafah border gate. And according to Turkey's health minister, 13 others are accompanying the patients as they complete their treatment in a hospital in Ankara. The cancer patients were mainly being treated at a hospital in Gaza that was built with Turkey's support but was rendered unusable after Israel's attacks. Ankara is in contact with Israel and Egypt about setting up field hospitals on the Gazan side of the Rafah border crossing. A top Ukrainian official has said that its troops have established a foothold on the eastern bank of the Dnieper River near Kherson. While Andrei Yermak, the head of the president's office, provided no details but confirmed the development that has been widely discussed in military forums over the past month. Russian forces left the city of Kherson and the territory around it in November 2022. The only area controlled on the west bank of the river is a natural dividing line along the southern battlefront, preventing Ukrainian troops from advancing further into the Kherson region and towards Russian-annexed Crimea. A man in his 50s was arrested after a car crashed into a barricade at the entrance of the Israeli embassy in Tokyo. A police officer was injured in the incident. Police officers later blocked the area around the embassy. Reports say that the crash damaged the car's front headlights and panel. Several pro-Palestinian demonstrations are being held outside the Israeli embassies around the world in recent weeks, including in Tokyo as well. This in protest against Israel's bombing of the Gaza Strip.
Auf einer Friedenstour waren. Und es wird zu euch reden mit einem herzlichen Applaus. Heute ist Sonntag.
Man muss endlich auch das Leid der Palästinenser sehen. Und auch sie erwarten Solidarität und Verständnis.
Wir werden weiter unsere Stimmen erheben.
Durch massives Bombardement.
Spanish demonstrators opposed to a government amnesty plan for Catalan separatists clashed with riot police in Madrid. Police has charged demonstrators and arrested many of them before the protest dispersed. The Spanish lawmakers have begun debating a new term for acting Premier Pedro Sanchez. Prime Minister Sanchez's offer of an amnesty to separatists in return for support has triggered the demonstrations there. Protesters, many draped in Spanish flags, are rallying outside the headquarters of Sanchez's Socialist Party. Prime Minister Sanchez has enough support to win a vote, having won the backing of Catalan separatist parties and other regional parties. France has issued arrest warrants for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, his brother as well, and two other senior officials over the alleged use of banned chemical weapons against civilians. The warrants allege that President Assad and the others were complicit in war crimes and crimes against humanity. This is the first time a nation has issued an arrest warrant against a current head of state in another country for crimes against humanity. Reports suggest that Interpol is expected to issue a red notice soon.
السورية التي يعرفون جزء منها ولا يعرفون الأجزاء الأخرى.
Some of the 40 workers trapped for days in a collapsed road tunnel in northern Indian state of Uttarakhand are falling sick as falling debris and technical glitches are delaying work to free them. The rescuers are trying to drill through the rubble and insert white steel pipes to free the workers who have been trapped since Saturday. According to the National Highway Authority, a more powerful machine has been airlifted there and is now being used to rescue the workers. Australia's government has said that it will introduce legislation to allow ankle bracelets, curfews and other rules to monitor dozens of foreigners with criminal records. A High Court ruling last week said that the indefinite immigration detention pursued by Australia for over 2 decades is unlawful. The ruling has forced the government to release 83 foreigners and sparked a public and political backlash. According to the government, the released individuals have all served their jail sentences in Australia, but they were still being held in detention because of concerns over the character or potential risks to national security.
Home Affairs and Minister for Cyber Security.
Surely would accept.
With David Cameron's surprising return to politics, controversies around him have also resurfaced. The former Prime Minister and UK's new Foreign Secretary's China ties are again under the scanner. A probe into a lobbying scandal involving him has now also resumed. After being told by the UK Supreme Court that his government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda is unlawful, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is banking on an emergency legislation to resurrect his high-profile plan. Shortly after the 5 judges unanimously rejected the asylum proposals, Sunak addressed a combative press conference there and where he said that his proposed legislation will end the merry-go-round of legal challenges by setting out a law that the East African country is safe. UK Labour leader Keir Starmer is facing dissent in his ranks. 56 lawmakers, including many of his policy team members, voted to demand a call for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas conflict. This comes after scores of Labour MPs staged a mass rebellion over Starmer's refusal to back a ceasefire in Gaza. All the Labour MPs had been told to abstain on a vote calling for a ceasefire and instead backed Starmer's position calling for longer humanitarian pauses. But 56 MPs, including 10 of Starmer's top team, who have now resigned after their defiance, said that they could not follow the order. The vote was defeated by 293 votes to 168.
The ayes to the right, 120.
Madagascar's voters headed to polls early on Thursday in a presidential election boycotted by 10 out of 12 opposition candidates and marred by weeks of violent demonstrations. Despite a nighttime curfew imposed on Wednesday, the security presence was scarce across the capital as polling stations opened. President Andry Rajoelina, who is seeking a third term, faces growing isolation after leading opposition figures. This included 2 former presidents who declared him unfit to run and called on their supporters to abstain from voting. The Thailand Prime Minister in a keynote address at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC summit pitched for a land bridge infrastructure project. The proposed bridge will connect the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean without requiring ships to sail down along the tip of Singapore. This will majorly reduce congestion and also cut transport duration. Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin has also welcomed collaborations and investors to join the initiative. Thavisin called it a very important project, not just for Thailand but also for the world.
Our renewable.
Seismic activity in southwest Iceland has increased over the last few days. According to the weather department in Iceland, it has triggered concerns about an imminent volcanic eruption. Around 800 earthquakes were recorded between midnight and noon on Wednesday, around the same number as the day before. The Icelandic Weather Institute and said that the probability of an eruption is high despite a decrease in seismic activity since the weekend. Seismic activity and underground lava flows intensified on the Reykjanes Peninsula over the weekend. It had earlier prompted authorities to evacuate nearly 4,000 people from the fishing town of Grendavik. A state-of-the-art plastic sorting facility, the largest of its kind in the world, has been launched in Sweden. It's big enough to receive almost all plastic waste from the households there. The new plant in central Sweden, called Site Zero, will receive over 200,000 tons of plastic household waste a year. And unlike traditional sorting facilities that can only separate a handful of different plastics, it can handle all 12 plastics common to the market in Sweden. crucial to increase the quality of the plastic recycled back into raw materials. From Site 0, 95% of plastic packaging can be accurately sorted and sent for recycling. Two mountain lion cubs are undergoing examination at the Auckland Zoo. They were found by California Department of Fish and Wildlife after an adult female mountain lion suspected to be their mother was fatally struck by a car. Later, CDFW staff received reports of the two cubs in the area. Auckland Zoo's veterinary staff performed virus testing, parasite treatment and blood work. The dehydrated kittens have received important fluids and current examinations indicate no severe illness. The cubs are likely to stay in the zoo's intensive care unit for around 8 days. They will be later moved to a holding area until CDFW can find a home for them. A volcano southeast of the Mexican capital continues to spew gas and ash into the sky. Mexican Disaster Prevention Center has announced the volcanic alert is on yellow. It is one step below red alert. People have been warned not to climb the volcano, which is rather an active volcano in Mexico that we're talking about here. As per the authorities, it has made over 15 exhalations in the last 24 hours. Russian families are grappling with rising prices due to the Ukraine war and Western sanctions. Families surviving on a 50,000 ruble monthly income, that is around $550 have cut back on treats as essential prices, including baby items, skyrocket. While Putin's government faces economic challenges, he's expected to run in the 2024 elections. Economists warn of a potential rise in poverty, with around 20 million Russians affected. Despite hardships, people living in St. Petersburg express determination to survive by cutting down and seeking discounts. Lenovo reports a 16% revenue decline for Q3 2023, the fifth consecutive quarter due to PC supply exceeding demand. The $14.41 billion figure meets expectations with a 7% global drop in PC shipments. To boost sales, Lenovo plans to launch an AI PC in 2024, which will boost AI without internet dependence. Chairman Yang Yunqing believes that this innovation will enhance user privacy despite new US restrictions on AI chip exports. Lenovo anticipates minimal impact on its collaboration with NVIDIA. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reveals India's pivotal role in shaping global energy dynamics. By flexing its economic might in oil purchases, India not only commanded respect in the market, but also softened oil and gas landscapes worldwide. Smaller nations struggled to even get responses to tender inquiries as larger suppliers prioritized dealings with major players. As a consequence, India's purchase policies played a crucial role in managing global inflation. Dr. Jaishankar highlights the impact awaiting acknowledgement for India's major contribution to stabilizing international energy markets.